What's poppin', everybody? It's your boy All Around Rule here with a UFL Week 10 recap. Friday, we had the St. Louis Battlehawks taking on the Dallas Renegades in the Battle Dome. The Renegades end up getting a win over the Battlehawks, actually sweeping the Battlehawks for the first time, beating them 2-0 in the season series this year. Austin Reed and them boys was taking advantage of nice short fields. He came up with a few clutch throws to Tyler Vaughn. The Renegades defense played great, getting 7 sacks, punishing that Battlehawks O-line. The Battlehawks, like I said, they couldn't get nothing started for real, even though they had a few big plays. They couldn't score in the red zone. But I still think they could have won this game off field goals alone. They got a great defense. They need to learn how to reward their defense by making these teams drive all the way up the field instead of putting a defense in deficiencies by having these offenses start at a short field, and they taking advantage of that. But ultimately, like I said, it was a good game. The Renegades got the dub. The Battlehawks move on to the playoffs. The Renegades go to their couch. I had to throw a little jab in there. Saturday, we had the old school USFL rivalry, the Gamblers and the Stallions. The Gamblers ended up shocking the Stallions, knocking them out the playoff hunt, 26-13. The Gamblers was running all over these boys, man. That's one thing that downgraded with the Stallions this year was that defense. I mean, they defensive coordinator the last couple of years went to St. Louis, and you see what St. Louis turned into a juggernaut, even though they already had a great defense, but they just turned into a straight juggernaut. And I think that affected the Stallions this year. They just wasn't good on that side of the ball like that. They had boys like Tizino and Crowder, and, they still had a few guys, but it just wasn't the same as the Skip Holtz defenses that they had the last few years. The offense, they had boys. They got a all-star team, college all-star team on offense right now. I just don't know how it wasn't functioning correctly to produce the type of basically they wasn't producing how they was when Skip Holtz was around. But like I said, they had the names, they had the talent. It just wasn't it for this season. I don't know what's going on with the Stallions. But the Gamblers, like I said, they was running all over these boys. Plumlee, he fast in the motherfucker. For real. He fast. Yeah, but they got the dub. On Sunday, we had a doubleheader. The Storm sliding the Rowdy Audi to take on the Defenders. Jason Bean got the start. He looked like he's been on the bench for a little bit. He got wheels too. I think the Storm took advantage of that. They made a lot of big plays. The Defenders were still cooking though, lightweight. They had that rushing attack. They had some opportunities to win this game, and they just didn't capitalize on it, man. I think we see that Jordan Tayamu is a very, very valuable piece to the DC Defenders, because nobody had them losing 4 or 5 straight. That defense is dominant. So it just shows that Jordan is a very big piece. He's very valuable to that offense. If he's not in there, it's just not the same. But the Storm get the victory, 29-23. They play each other again in the playoffs this week. Hopefully it's a good game. I definitely think it's going to be a little bit of low scoring. I think DC is positioning themselves to have a slugfest in this next playoff game by the moves that they doing, bringing back some of their vets that retired in the offseason last year. They coming for this playoff run. So I do think it's going to be a slugfest. But I think Orlando will make it to the United Bowl in Audi. The last game, we had the Kings traveling to Columbus. And to end the season with this type of game, man, it just basically, how could I say, man? It's a good ending to the UFL season, man. This game was great. Started off with a pick six. And we got a new rivalry. These boys was throwing hands. We saw the DC St. Louis throwing hands in 2023, and we seen what that rivalry took off to be the best rivalry in spring football. And I think we got number 2 on our hands right now with the Columbus Aviators and the Louisville Kings, man. This is going to be one of them rivalries, man, for a long time, I'm telling you. But it was a great game. We got to see all 3 quarterbacks from the Kings. Columbus got to see their future. You know, a lot of these guys, some of these guys going to go to the NFL. Some going to go on practice squad rosters. Some guys going to come back. That's just how it worked in the spring. But I know Columbus and I know Louisville, both of them markets is proud and happy that they got a spring football team. But that was my little recap, man. We'll be back next week recapping the playoffs. Go Battlehawks. Call is the law. Go Storm. I'm hoping that matchup in the United Bowl is the Storm versus the Battlehawks. Anthony Beck versus his old team. That's what I'm hoping for. See y'all.